welcome back to the Journey to the FarLands. All right. Oh boy, bunch of stuff. Let's see if I can get rid of some of that. I don't need that. And I don't need that. That'll do for now. Okay. Break out of here. See that there is nothing foul and nasty about. Block that off. Note that this is the west, and head in this direction, and proceed onwards to the FarLands. Yes, here we go. And this is the morning of the 481st Minecraft day since leaving spawn. So that's pretty good. And the size of the world this morning, 5,810.83 megabytes, and counting. It's gotten to the point now where making a backup of the world takes about 5 minutes or so. And yeah. And let's see. We're proceeding onwards and so on. I do have a little bit of updates, so to speak. Let's see, the graphics card issue, which has been a largish issue of late. I decided to test the theory. There was a theory expressed in recent comments that it was possible that the problem was not necessarily the graphics card so much as the power supply, and that they noted that the behavior of things kind of shutting down sounded like a power supply going bad. Well, I was fortunately actually able to test that. And well, the reason is because I have an older graphics card that while not awesome, does pretty much work. And I've kept it around for emergencies and such. And I plugged that one in. I swapped it out. I took the one out that was going and having problems, or that I considered was having a lot of problems. Certainly it was having a lot of thermal problems. And I plugged the other one in. I plugged this older one in. Started up. And I figured the really good test would be to start up the system with that older card and start Fallout. So I did. And I found that I could run Fallout 4 as long as I wanted to. And there was no more of this click, black screen, and lock up the whole computer thing. It stopped happening completely. So that means that the card itself, the old the graphics card that I was using, is definitely the fault. There is something about that was damaged, presumably in recent overheats, that something that Fallout tries to use or do with the card that causes it to just basically puke and die. And with the new card, with the older card the old backup card, with that one, I can run Fallout, and that never happens. Although Fallout 4 is still not playable, because with this older card, Oh, it's very sluggish and mushy, and it controls don't respond instantly the way you would expect them to, and things like that. And I just, no, I wouldn't even want to try to seriously actually play it doing anything. From what I saw in the 10 minutes or so that I was running it to test, and no, it's not actually playable. It will run, but it's not playable. And so it's definitely confirmed. It was not a power supply issue. It is definitely a graphics card gone kablooey, or at least partially kablooey. It's that kind of problem. And so I have begun a program of savings, which basically means I'm going to squirrel away every cent that I don't absolutely need to spend on something else. And when there is enough of those cents put together, I am going to get myself a GTX 780 Ti. And nothing less is going to do. I've decided that this is the point in life where I stop settling. All of my life, I've always had to end up settling for something less than what I wanted on whatever situation or thing. Almost always, I decide I want A, and I end up having to settle for C or D because A is so expensive or hard to find or whatever, usually because it's too expensive. No more. And it's just an example, basically. I'm not going to settle. I'm done with this settling for less than what I actually wanted to do. Because it's just, no. How about I just build a little dirt bridge across? Instead of trying to get down, build myself a little bridge. There. Of course, I end up getting down anyway, but it was easier here than it was back there. Anyway, so that's what's going on there. And there's another sign that the one graphics card is definitely the issue. And that is along with the problems that it had running Fallout, it had similar problems running modded Minecraft, which is a big part of the reason that my playthrough of the Direwolf 20 Season 7 pack had such a long gap in it recently, because there's a new episode up this morning, because I can actually run that now. For quite a while there, I wasn't able to, because of these graphics card issues. Now, perhaps with vanilla Minecraft it's not such a big deal, but modded Minecraft makes a lot more demands on the system than vanilla does, because there's a lot more going on in modded, of course. So, that series is back active again. And for the time being, I expect to be alternating between the Direwolf 20 pack and Skyrim. Because Skyrim, being an older thing from, what was it when that came out? 2011? Yeah. And so it's not going to be as demanding as something that come out in 2015 or 2017 or something, you know. Not quite as graphically demanding. And so we've got 2 series that are active now because I can actually run the associated things. And that's good. I have no idea how long it's going to take to save up and get the new graphics card that I want. But I'm hoping this time is kept to a minimum. No, it doesn't, does it? Oh, well. Alright. Oh, it doesn't matter. I broke the boat getting out of it. I was going to try and cut this channel here and reuse the boat and continue on. But that is solved for me. There. Anywho, moving onwards. One of the things that I consider myself fortunate that I can still run, even with an older graphics card, and I think this is partly because I've turned the graphics quality down quite a bit, is Elite Dangerous. I can still do that. Although I have found recently that while doing things in, well, the regular things that I do of flying from one star system to another and then flying to various planets and moons and such, scanning things and whatnot, and my exploration thing that I'm doing, that is no big deal at all. However, the one thing that is somewhat more demanding is when you land on one of those planets to get into a surface recon vehicle and drive around. Then you get to feel just how barely adequate that graphics card that's in there right now is, because things are kind of soft and mushy, and it takes a second or so before you get a response from a control input and so on. So in other words, you don't go driving around the surface at 20 or 30 meters per second. You stay down to a nice 3 or maybe 6 at the most. Yeah. It's doable. You just have to be really, really careful. Because in the event of crash, well, my current location is something in the neighborhood of very nearly 40,000 light years out from the start point. And yeah, mechanics don't make house calls, especially way out there. So in anything I'm doing, I'm being extremely careful. However, I have achieved something of a milestone. You see, one of the things that I've been keeping track of in Elite Dangerous is the grand total of the estimated scan value. I have a utility program called ED Discovery that what it does is it reads the game log and then presents that information in a user-friendly format. A much more user-friendly format, because the game doesn't necessarily expose all of that information, but it's in the game log. So one of the things that I've been keeping track of is the estimated value of all of the scans of stars, planets, and moons and such and whatnot. Because those scans, all that scan data, once I eventually return to civilization and sell the data, that has a certain amount of value. And so what this program does is it estimates what the value is for each scan. And not only that, but it keeps a running total. And actually it keeps several running totals. A running total for the last 24 hours, for the last week, for the last month. And the one that I consider the main one is the accumulated totals since the last time I undocked, which would be when this particular flight started. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, which is a shame. I probably should, but since last dock, the last time I undocked was at roughly around 10 p.m. on the 22nd of June, 2017. And of course, today is like the 20th of June, 2018. So this is getting very close to an anniversary of sorts. Like in 2 days, this flight will have been going for 1 year. Yeah. And in that time, I have done, I think it's approximately a little bit over 27,000 scans. That's 27,000 stars, planets, and moons that I have used a detailed surface scanner on to get the scan data that will eventually be sold to Universal Cartographics. 27,000. That's quite a bit. Distance actually traveled, now while I'm about 35 to close to 40,000 light years out, the distance actually traveled is, of course, more than that. Well, it's like just here in the regular old world. You know, your friend's house may only be 1 mile away on the map if you look at the straight line distance. But if you look at the distance you have to drive on the road, it might be 10 miles, right? Yeah, because that's the way the roads go. Well, in this particular case, the distance might be whatever, and then the actual distance you have to fly, because you're flying from one star to system to another, that distance is somewhat greater. And as a result, I have flown a little over 50,000 light years in getting almost 40,000 out. That's a lot of flying, because the flying is from star to star. I have put together, I have created a good number of waypoints. Now, a waypoint for this purpose is simply a bookmark at a particular point in the trip. A bookmark on the galactic map that basically each waypoint, I create them as close to 1,000 light years apart as I can. And every time I do that is when I'm having the navigation system plot another section of the course, and so on. And I have created 40 of these waypoints. And I am a little less than halfway to a place that I'm heading to before I start turning back towards civilization. The place I'm going to is known as Beagle Point. And where it is, if you draw a line from Earth through the center of the galaxy out to the other side, Beagle Point would be the farthest point you could get and still be in this galaxy. It's the farthest you can get from Earth without leaving the galaxy. At least with the current capabilities of frameshift drive and whatnot. Who knows if they had ever introduced more advanced things that can go faster or farther or whatever, you know. But in the meantime, Beagle Point is as far as you can get from Earth without leaving the galaxy. And that's where I'm going before I start back. And I'm not just going straight there. It's not a straight route, because I'm traveling around the edge of the galaxy to get there. And I'm a little less than halfway there. I could conceivably take another year just to get there, and possibly 2 years getting back. It's entirely possible. It all depends on whether I decide, okay, enough of this, time to just get from point A to point B as fast as possible, and enough with all the scans and so on and so forth, you know. If I were to decide something like that, I could head back and probably get back from where I'm at now. I could probably get back to the human populated space area in maybe a month and a half. It's a long ways out. But yeah. Anywho, just a little update on that. And by the way, The Adventures of Harry Fenton is going to be continuing. It is not forgotten. It just got kind of pushed to one side because I was using all of my elite time for kind of pushing a goal. I mentioned the scan value, the estimated value of all these planetary and moon and star and whatnot scans that I've been doing all this time. A while back, I decided that I was going to make a push to reach a particular goal before the 1-year anniversary of leaving on this trip. And I've done it. As of 2 nights ago, the estimated value of all of the scans that I have done since I left dock at 10 p.m. June 22nd, 2017, that value is now in just over 1 billion credits. That's not a bad paycheck. Now, I'm sure that somebody will come along and say, well, that's nothing. I can make 1 billion credits in a couple of hours or a few weeks or whatever, you know. Okay, fine. That's cool. I don't care. Because I'm doing what I'm doing. And the money is actually, the credits earned is actually kind of a secondary issue. But still, reaching 1 billion of anything is a big deal, regardless of whether or not other people could do it faster and quicker and whatnot. You know, the accumulation of credits was not the primary concern, but still, reaching 1 billion is a big deal. At least I think so, because 1 billion of anything is actually kind of a little bit hard to imagine. Because the only other thing I can think of that I would be able to say that I have 1 or more billion of would be the atoms that make up my body. You know, I probably have a few billion of those. Or more. I don't know. But, yeah. It's pretty good. A cool accomplishment. I've been working on that. Now that I've gotten there, I'll probably be continuing Commander Harry Fenton's little adventures. I should probably see about getting some wool. Okay, good. All right. Be able to get down without breaking my neck. Alrighty. Well, let's see. I should not neglect the fact that there are some questions. So let's get to that. Let me see here. Wedding Crasher recently asked, since your side panel is open, wouldn't dust buildup occur inside of the PC? Why isn't your side panel on the PC? Well, it's not on the PC because I took it off to do the PC surgery thing. And as for dust accumulation, trust me, there was a lot of dust accumulation inside, even with it on. And since then, I have left it off to increase the airflow, at least a little bit. Especially given how badly the graphics card was overheating, even with its fans and heat sinks all cleaned out and such. And, you know, I got everything all cleaned out. I used up the last of my duster can, the compressed air thing, the compressed part gas thing. By the way, whoever it was that said that, thank you. That is absolutely hilarious. Compressed part gas. I love it. Yeah. So the side is going to remain off for the time being. Just simply so that I'm sure everything is cooling and sufficiently cooled. And any dust accumulation inside the case, because the side is off, is nothing compared to what was in there before when I took it off. And that's with me actually doing a practice of every month or so, open things up and get out the compressed air and, you know, get things dusted out and cleaned off and whatnot. I have a very dusty house. It has always been very, very dusty here. And, you know, so that. And one of the things that I was doing initially before I traded out the cards was to increase cooling. I had a 20-inch box fan up against that open side, blowing air into the case to try to keep things cooler. And it worked, although it was noisy as all get out, as you could imagine. And with this other older, somewhat less capable card that at least works, I don't have to do that. Because according to the temperature monitor, That thing right this very minute as I'm recording is about 67°C, and its safe temperature is such that it can safely go to 80 or even 90°C, but it doesn't, because nothing is making it do that. And yeah, so that's pretty much the size of that, and that side is going to remain off for a while, probably until I put a new card in there, until I get this 780 Ti that I want, and get that put in there, and take a little bit of time to satisfy myself that everything is working as intended, as it is supposed to, and so on. And then I will put the side on, lock it down, and everything will be back to what you would call normal operation. Let's see. I need to start thinking about an overnight hidey hole thing. Like right now. I just realized it's getting dark. This is the third freaking day. All right. Oh, excuse me. But the sneeze is real, and it's kind of hard to shut those down. Okay, get this dug in here. I didn't mean to dig down. Oh man. Aim. Jeez. All right. Well, that's better. Put down a bed, get 3 more made. All right. Yes, definitely I need to get more wool. And yeah, okay, get rid of that. Collect that. All right, so that will just about take care of that and finish off today's episode. And hopefully I won't be very long before getting another episode out. I really am trying to be a little bit more regular about things. Being regular is good. In any event, thanks for watching. Take it easy. I am out of here.